Good afternoon. The Federal Open Market Committee concluded its last meeting of the year earlier today. Why did we update our guidance? The reason is that with the asset purchase program having been wound down in October, it seemed less helpful to continue to communicate about the possible timing of our first rate increase with reference to an event that is receding into the past. Instead, we have shifted to language that better reflects the committee's focus on the economic conditions that would make liftoff appropriate. Employment is rising at a healthy rate, and the U.S. economy is strengthening, reflecting in part a highly accommodative stance of monetary policy. At some point, it will become appropriate to begin reducing policy accommodation. Assuming that the economy evolves broadly in line with participants' expectations, almost all participants believe that it will be appropriate to begin raising the target range for the federal funds rate in 2015. By late 2016, the median projection for the federal funds rate at 2.5% remains more than a percentage point below the longer-run value of 3.75% or so projected by most participants. FOMC participants provide a number of explanations for the federal funds rate running below its normal level for longer-run level at that time, in particular the residual effects of the financial crisis, which are likely to continue to constrain household spending and constrain credit availability for some time. But as these factors dissipate further, most participants expect the federal funds rate to move close to its longer-run normal level by the end of 2017. Thank you, and I'll be happy to take your questions.
Now that Fed Chair Yellen has defined where the Federal Reserve believes the Fed funds rate should be and when, let's translate her expectations into net trading profit or loss. Directly below the video display, you'll find a link to an interactive risk-reward spreadsheet. Please right-click on this link and open the spreadsheet, which should take no more than 4 seconds. Once the spreadsheet is open, enable editing. In cell C2, I've entered a start balance of $100,000. For the mini program, just drop a 0 on everything. For example, 10,000 versus 100,000 on the start balance. 5 positions versus 50 positions for number of contracts traded. In cell E15, I've entered my initial entry price of $99.90, representing a rate of 0.10%. To convert the contract price into the rate it represents, take 100 minus the contract price equals the rate. For example, 100 minus 99.90 equals 0.10. Trading this rate higher requires establishing a short position. As this rate rises, the contract price falls to reflect the increase in rate. If you need more information on this rate, what it is, how it's set, and how it's traded, see link 2 below the video display. In cell E16, I've entered the initial number of short contracts, 50, with the total value of these positions being $20,833. Each 0.01 move equals $2,083. The way this trade is structured, I put up nearly 5 times the total value of the position and $94,000 more than the $8,000 margin requirement. In this example, we're trading futures, not options. Futures have no time decay. If at expiration, the contract is still trading at 99.90, representing a rate of 0.10, the value of this position will be unchanged at $20,833. In cell B2, you'll see the current rate of 0.10%. In cell D2, the net profit or loss after all bid-ask spreads, clearing and exchange, and regulatory fees, minus $2,083. and in cell E2, the net liquidating value of $97,917. Now let's look at a move to zero. In cell B2 in the upper left-hand corner, enter a rate of 0. The net loss will show in cell D2 of $22,917. Net liquidating value in cell E2, $77,083. The way this trade is structured, we're not only prepared for a move to zero, but would put a move to zero to work directly for us. Enter 50 in cell E18. E20, E22, and 24 will fill in automatically. On the way down to zero, we've added an additional 200 contracts. We now have a total of 250 positions on, which will show in cell G21, and have lowered our overall average entry to 0.05%, which will show in cell G19. At zero, with a total of 250 positions on, our net loss would be $62,500, shown in cell D2. Our net liquidation value, $37,500, shown in cell E2. Now let's look at the upside for this same trade. Let's assume the market recovers from zero back to our initial entry price of 0.10. Enter 0.10 in cell B2. Our net profit will be $41,667, shown in cell D2. Net liquidation value $141,667, shown in cell E2. Now let's enter 0.25 in cell B2, representing the top end of the Fed's current target range of 0.25%. The net profit will show in cell D2 of $197,917. Net liquidation value shown in cell E2, $297,917. Now let's use 0.5625%, representing half the move to the Fed's target for the Fed funds rate of 1.1250 by the end of 2015. Enter 0.5625 in cell B2. The net profit of $523,438 will show in cell D2. Net liquidation value $623,438, shown in cell E2. My objective between now and the end of 2017 is to generate a net profit equivalent to half of the move to the Fed's target for the Fed funds rate of 3.75 by the end of 2017. Enter 1.8750 in cell B2. The net profit of $1,890,625 will show in cell D2. The net liquidation value of $1,990,625 will show in cell E2. Investors and incentive-based managers have the common goal of profitability. Given this common goal, our objective is to find the markets that have the highest return on risk with the highest probability of making a major market move. For example, let's compare the S&P to Fed funds. What do you think is going to happen first? What do you think has a better return on risk? Trading the S&P from the current 2,058 near its all-time high, hoping for a higher high of 2,675 for appreciation in contract value of 30%, or the Fed funds rate moving from the current 0.10 to 0.13% for the same 30% appreciation in contract value. Facts. From near zero, Fed funds can only have a major market move in one direction, higher, as one member bank is not about to pay another member bank to borrow from it, which would be required in order for the Fed funds rate to go negative. The Fed, who sets this rate, has clearly defined where they see this rate and when. They posted it on their website, and they update us at every FOMC meeting. The market's not priced in this move, but will very quickly when the Fed ignites the move higher with either a statement of tightening or an actual hike. If the Federal Reserve is half right about the rate they set, the Fed funds rate will move from 0.1% to 1.875%, which is still 3.25% below the 1954 through 2014 historical average for this rate of 5.1. When this move engages, a Fed funds contract will increase in value from $416 at point 1 to $7,812 at 1.875. Fed funds aren't the only rate market that's set up for a major market move. We trade all durations from 30 days to 30 years, treasuries, bonds, Japanese government bonds, and a host of other debt derivatives, not only for speculation, but yield enhancement and hedging. On link 6 directly below, you'll find an additional 64 strategies out of the several hundred we track and trade. For information on how to open an account, how balances are guaranteed plus or minus trading activity, fees, and my career history, see link number 7. If you have any questions or comments, please contact me at any time.